What's going on, guys? We teased it earlier on the preview show on Tuesday, and here we are. We're back. I'm Jason. He's, of course, Matt, and we're here to talk each and every single match week here in the Premier League. And obviously, we're kicking things off with match week number one. Game number one today between Crystal Palace and Arsenal. We'll get into that. First, let's just get Matt's opening thoughts. Hey, it's obviously been a long summer. Welcome to have you back. Glad to be talking Premier League with you. What's been going on? And maybe just one little thought here on the season before we do a kickoff here.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Christmas came a little bit early this year, doesn't it, Jason? I mean, it always does. Like this
I'm so
feeling
excited
right here, because we've got this month really blocked off here of soccer, and then the NFL rolls around and all that stuff. So like, it's a great time for sports. Like this is really when it all starts. I know that you've been doing some good baseball betting and stuff like that. I've been pretty cooled off on that front. Really haven't been diving into it too much. Like. This is what we love. This is what we love. We love this league. There's a lot of storylines to talk about. But yeah, I mean, here we go. 10 matches. Let's go.
I mean, afternoon soccer's back. I can act like I'm working, but I got the game streaming on the tablet right next to me. It's everything we love. So with that being said, we do have a game that kicks off in about under 2 hours. So let's obviously start with that game first. It's Crystal Palace. It's at Arsenal. Maybe I should have said this a second ago because I was going to have it here in my notes. We talked about last season how Palace was home and away different, and they were really one of the good home sides. We're going to sit here and we're going to give you thoughts and analysis, and of course for all 10 of these games. We're trying to use 2022 predictions based off 2021 and based off the summer signings, but that doesn't always translate over into a new season, so be a little cautious. Don't go gun-ho. We're all excited that a new season is back in the Premier League. Maybe just temper the expectation in terms of the volume of betting. Let's see what happens. Let's see if things can carry over to the season. And then, of course, as the match weeks ramp up, so will the bet volume. But that being said, yeah, I mean, I kind of like Palace at home. If they're going to be what they were last season with their home and away splits, I'll take them at home here at Selhurst Park. That being said, we're going up against an Arsenal squad that actually improved this summer, where Palace didn't do much in the transfer window. So I'm expecting Arsenal to come in, have the upper leg. What will they do this season? Remember last season they kicked off the Premier League against Brentford and put up a stinker. I was on Brentford that day, bet them, and won money on that Brentford double chance. What are we going to get with Arsenal, Matt? Is Arsenal going to come up to the moment here and live up to some maybe these preseason expectations, or are they going to be a little flat here in the opening game? What are some of your thoughts?
I think that they're going to be actually pretty good here to start this season off. Like you mentioned, they had a good preseason campaign. I'm looking kind of towards Palace's preseason here a little bit. I know that they were struggling a little bit in Asia like about a month ago, but they've been able to gather some form here. 3-0 to QPR, 4-2 to Montpellier. Just little things like you gotta definitely stay tuned with some of those things because Arsenal were on fire in the preseason. And
yes,
for me here, I mean, this would over the last two seasons when you're seeing someone like an Arsenal at this type of price. On the road at Selhurst, you're like, this is absolutely a no touch. Like I'm not betting it or I'm betting against Arsenal. But it's match day one, and I think that Arsenal are feeling good. I've been talking to one of my buddies who he definitely knows a lot about soccer. He's been playing it his whole life. He's been an Arsenal fan. Kind of talking about what their match day one squad was last season heading into it, and it looks terrible when I saw a picture of it. I mean, and when you fast forward to what I think we're going to get here today, it's going to be pretty strong if this is the one. So this is what he sent to me. Ramsdale in goal. Ben White at right back covering right now for Tomiyasu because Tomiyasu's not going to make it, which I'm fine with, really. But he will be going up against Zaha, so that's an interesting matchup. Saliba will make his Arsenal debut, paired with Gabriel, Zinchenko at left back, and then two holding midfielders, Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka. And then it should be Saka on the right, Odegaard in the middle, Martinelli on the left, and Jesus. And if it is that, I'm going to have some interest. I might, I could even see, Arsenal scoring two, maybe just getting out of the winner's market and saying, okay, I think that this offense is going to be really solid. We'll take a look at Palace's defense, see if we can pick on some things. But, I kind of hope that people pour in a little bit on Palace here for some reason, because I think that this match day one squad, I know it's really tough to go play at Selhurst. Obviously, under the lights on a Friday night. Like this is going to be the
Should be
atmosphere
rocking.
you don't. But then again, like this is the perfect time for Arsenal to show who they are as well. Like coming out on the road under the lights in a hostile environment with a few new faces that I think really mesh well with this team when you're looking at Jesus and Zinchenko.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if Arsenal can step up to the moment here. I think coming in this Premier League debut, it's going to be a tough task, like you said, at Selhurst Park. Will Selhurst Park kind of lift Crystal Palace to a result? Because that double chance right now at Crystal Palace is at plus money, and that's enticing based on their home form last season. Remember, this is a Crystal Palace team that got a result in both fixtures last season, winning 3-0 at home with only 31% of the ball, and then had a 2-2 draw at the Emirates. Whatever it was they played there in their reverse fixture. So this is gonna be a tough fixture. Maybe under 2.5 can also come in. Maybe it takes a while these guys to kind of round into their true form, and maybe we'll see an under 2.5. I'm gonna be with you. I want to wait to see on lineups. I lean Crystal Palace. You lean Arsenal. Let's see these lineups. This is the great part about football and why we love it. Let's see what can happen. I can't wait. I lean Palace on that double chance, but I do need to see lineup. Smith Rowe was a doubt coming into this fixture.
Yeah, I would need all the boxes would need to align for me to make this like all of the right lineup things. If it's that Arsenal lineup, and we take a look at maybe this Crystal Palace midfield and say, okay, they're missing Gallagher. He's not going to be there all season. Like, how are they going to control possession against someone like Arsenal? Because their midfield looks pretty solid there. If that's the one that if that's the one that we're going to see, so we'll see how it goes. And now. Missing out like on someone like a Lacazette, like I don't mind Lacazette leaving. You know what I mean? Like that's a great thing for that to happen. And now you've got Martinelli and Saka, two brilliant wingers, with someone like Gabriel Jesus, who is still young and hungry in this league and has won a lot. So it'll come down to Jesus probably.
Okay, hey, I don't want to read too much into this match, but with what Arsenal did last season, obviously stumbled a touch down the stretch. They win this game, hostile environment, preseason opener. This is a top 4 team. This is certainly a top 4 team all season long in that conversation. So look forward to that one. All right, let's turn to the page now to the weekend games. On Saturday, kicks off with Fulham versus Liverpool, at Fulham. I can't see anything but a Liverpool win. I'm not saying they absolutely run away and win this thing like out, but I think they cover the minus 1.5 on the Asian line. Obviously, they beat Manchester City there in the Community Shield. They took Fulham's best player this summer in the transfer window. They only got stronger, obviously, also bringing in Darwin Nunez. To me, it's a Liverpool win. It'll be comfortable. I think it's via the clean sheet. 2-0, 3-0 is how I see Liverpool over Fulham.
I completely agree with you. I mean, I think this is it's a nice spot. Obviously, if you're Fulham, getting a big team at home in match day one it's okay, really, because like then you at least you dig in and see what you've got against a top 3 side in the world here. But Fulham really struggled on their way out. Like they kind of remind me, are they going to be like a Norwich, where they're just kind of bouncing back? Norwich comes back up next year. Fulham goes back down. They're never in the league at the same time, type of thing. So yeah, Craven Cottage isn't really that difficult of a place to go play. I really only see Liverpool. I think this is kind of one-way traffic here. I think that if you want Liverpool in your parlays, I think that that's great. Just one note that I really have is, over the last like four seasons, really, or whenever Salah became a Liverpool player, he has been fantastic to start seasons, to start campaigns. He's gotten off to hot streaks. I remember his debut against Watford. He had a brace, or maybe it was even a hat trick in that one. And he normally gets off to flying starts here, and you can find Salah to score and Liverpool to win hovering around even money if you shop around. And that's a pretty good wager for me. I think that makes a ton of sense.
I'm seeing Salah himself just to score at even money. So to tackle on a Liverpool win, they're decently big favorites. Maybe it doesn't get you up a ton, but yeah, I would just obviously tack that on. I like that. People always talk about the NFL and they cook up their anytime TD scores. You and me, I know we'll have some anytime goal scorer parlays, and I think Mo Salah, for everything you mentioned, is certainly in there. And obviously he's the penalty kicker too. So obviously you get that advantage on your side too.
And the other thing that I want to say, Jason, is like I'm probably going to have a lot of high volume this week. It's just going to be the units will be a little bit lower than normal because I want to go. Obviously, I want to have some fun in match day one. I think I've got some good angles here, and like you mentioned, like an anytime goal scorer parlay, like I think that we should probably cook one up here and have some fun with it because
Let's do it.
uh, I, I think that Salah is the first one to go on the list.
Salah, and I think the other guy that was in that Community Shield, Holland or somebody,
I
Holland
think his
guy.
name's
Yeah.
Erling, maybe. Yeah.
Can I drop a brace in for him? Because I feel like one goal is just like a gimme, right? I got to drop in a brace for him.
I mean, I looked last week after the Community Shield. I saw 15-1 on a hat trick for Holland, and I'm like, well, I mean, I can see it, so
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad of a deal.
All right, love that stuff right there. Let's keep on going here with another game on Saturday. It's Bournemouth versus Aston Villa. And if you caught our both season-long preview show that Matt and I did on Tuesday, where we looked at the entire season as a whole, we both predicted Bournemouth to go right back down in the championship. And then we both also like Villa to finish definitely up in the top 10. You look at the fixture coming in here. Villa's got no injury concerns. Steven Gerrard can field whatever lineup he wants. We both like Martinez in goal. This is going to be a Villa win. Will they concede? This is where I think it comes a little tough when you start predicting win to nils, at least in match day one, especially when you have the lesser team at home in Bournemouth. Can that crowd at least just lift them to a goal? And that's all we're asking here for is will both teams score a hit? Will that crowd lift them? If the crowd doesn't lift them, I don't think anything can lift them because really strong back four and keeper there for Villa. I'll say Villa gets the win, and I'll put it at 3-1.
Yeah, this would be a complete lineup checker for me, but I do have I feel like a strong lean right now towards Villa. You're getting them around even money. You can even find a plus price if you shop around. And I think it makes sense because I just think that they're more solid when you look at pretty much every single position here. It's a good managerial kind of battle to England colleagues when you're looking at Scott Parker and Gerrard going head to head. They've played some matches together before and obviously a ton of matches against one another in the league. But I do see, when you're looking at what gets it over the line here, how does one of these teams grab the 3 points? It's like, I trust Ollie Watkins, someone like that up top to slot something home more than I trust someone like a Dominic Solanke for Bournemouth. And so it's little things like that. Just a couple notes. I love the Vitality Stadium. It's like so small and intimate, and it's a great Premier League ground. But yeah, it's got to be for me when you're looking at how much more solid Villa are. They should be able to create a couple more chances, even despite being on the road here. And I think that they win this. Yeah, I'd say like a 1-0, 2-0, 2-1.
Okay, all right, so we both see Villa winning. Let's keep going here with Leeds and Wolves, and at the end of each of these shows, we'll be doing these every single week. We'll slide back to our last season day of doing them on Thursday. Thanks for hanging out with us, obviously, on Friday. Special little show here. When I get to my official bets here at the end of the show, I will reveal. I've got Wolves on a double chance today. We a little disagreed here on Leeds in our season preview. I think Leeds is a candidate to be relegated, and I've also seen other people kind of say that. Just not high on this Leeds team. Don't like what they lost. Don't like how they replaced it. Meanwhile, Wolves in their own right, they didn't do anything. But remember Wolves last year, their games only averaged 1.6 goals per game. It all comes down to, can their front line fire? Otherwise, you generally don't score on Wolves. This one smells like an under 2.5 game to me. If I was to bet it, I'd imagine the juice is probably a little heavy, and I'll look it up here while Matt speaks. But this one screams low scoring. I think the Wolves can go into Leeds and at least scrape out 1 point. I'm not confident on picking a winner in this one at all.
I don't like this match really whatsoever. These are, like you kind of mentioned how you're down on Leeds. I'm pretty down on Wolves, and they've been like my favorite team to bet on in this league for the last probably 2 or 3 seasons. I probably made the most amount of units on Wolves over the last couple seasons. So just because I know what I'm getting from them, they're so solid.
You're not getting goals in their fixtures, which is you were good at putting them at Wolves +1 and banking on that because they would never lost by a margin, and I was good at doing under 2.5. We both had the right buttons.
Exactly. So I love that aspect of it. I love I like Wolves when they're big underdogs, basically catching a margin of a goal, like kind of what you're doing here. I mean, you are doing it really right here. So like, let's look at this. Wolves undefeated at halftime in their last 18 in the league. Like that's insane. They've always been a halftime juggernaut, really. If I had to lean on something, I would lean on a thing that's worked for me over the last couple of seasons. It'd be a halftime draw. I think this one, it comes out slow. A lot of new faces in the Leeds camp. A lot of injury concerns. Like when you're looking at this match, there's a lot of players missing. Ayling's out, Cooper's out, Dallas is out, Firpo. Daniel James is on a red card suspension. And then you look at it on the other side is Raul Jimenez, their talisman, what you would like to think he should be their talisman. He just picked up a knee injury. He's going to be out for at least a month. So where are the goals coming from, I guess, in this fixture? That's my question. I would lean to the home side here, and I would lean to unders.
Yeah, I looked that price up while you were speaking. It's 125, minus 125 for an under 2.5. I imagine I get to the betting window on that one. I can't see goals being scored in that one at all. Let's move over now to Newcastle versus Nottingham Forest. Tough one for me because I've mentioned on the previous show, and I've mentioned it generally every time we're here on Matchweek 1 to kick off a new season. I don't know the teams in the championship that well because I don't follow the championship that well. Nottingham Forest has a chance to be competitive, though, because they got Dean Henderson on loan from Manchester United. Can that back four just give him a little bit of protection, give him some ability to see the ball properly? If so, this guy can come up and make all the saves, some worldly saves at that. Like what Newcastle's done. Thought you said it really well in the previous show about how maybe they took this summer off, but then maybe we'll hit it hard again in January. Thought you were spot on with that analysis. My lean in this one would be the Newcastle team total over 1.5. I like them here at St. James to kick off a new season. Think they'll certainly get a goal, and I think the crowd at least can push them possibly to another. And at minus 118 for an over 1.5 team totals, that'd be my angle in this game if I was to bet it.
Yeah, I don't have a ton on this one. I mean, this is I definitely need to see more from Nottingham. I can't say that I'm a Forest expert, if you will, but I just do know that what their transfer business has done is they've bought a ton of players. So what they're basically said is, yes, we moved up from the championship, but a lot of those players weren't quality enough to get the job done in this league. The jump is so high in quality. So when they're going out and they're buying all of these new faces, how do you get that team to gel so quickly? And you're going to go up against a team in Newcastle here at home, not an easy place to go play. And they don't really have a ton of new faces like Bruno, Gemarai, and St. Maximum. And those are some quality Premier League quality players. And so when you're looking at this one also, Newcastle finished last season very strong at home. I mean, they were not beat in 9 of 10. I mean, that's not to say that they're going to get the job done here, which is why I don't like laying the minus 150, minus 160 here on Newcastle. I just don't want to do that really in match day one. But they were strong here. Like if you're like one of those guys that wants to get in on some like crazy parlay or something, I would probably tell you Newcastle draw no bet is safe to move it, move the needle a little bit in a parlay.
How many legs am I going to have in this match week 1 parlay? I'll go slow on my official bets that I'm willing to give out to the people. But boy, this parlay that I'm going to cook up, I'm so excited. We got the Premier League back, baby.
I know. It's time to go. I think, and like if you want to completely degen it and do that,
I'm going to.
I think that Newcastle, and I sure do. So Newcastle minus what? It's probably going to be in the 300s on a draw no bet. Like I don't know. There's just a lot of new pieces at Forest.
That's a good point.
So you're going up kind of against continuity at home versus a step up, new faces like that. I lean the home side and more continuity.
Yeah, definitely. I was looking up even what that double chance was. Let's move over now to Tottenham versus Southampton. Boy, two teams that when we sit here in match week 38 and we're doing a preview for that match week, we could be looking at teams on the complete opposite ends of the table. This Tottenham team, love the pieces they've brought in. Absolutely love what they brought in. Basuma, Perisic there on the free. Even got a nice goalkeeper there if something were happening to Lloris with stealing Southampton's keeper there and Frazier. Nice pieces. I really like what Tottenham's doing. They're going to be competing for this top 4 right up there. It's Chelsea, Spurs for that 3 spot, I think, for a lot of people's opinion. Yeah, Southampton, they're going to struggle. They're not at home here. I can't see anything but a Tottenham win in this. Again, you'll see this in my official bets. I've sneaked in a Tottenham money line one way or another. I love everything about Tottenham at White Hart Lane. Sign me up.
Yeah, I mean they're in a good way. When you look at last season's form coming into this, I think that they had the most complete transfer window, I guess, of all of the top teams. I think that they filled the holes that Conte wanted to fill, and so uh, you know, getting top four. This is that thing where getting top four last season was so massive because I don't think that they would have been able to fill the holes like they did if they didn't. So that just gives Conte the freedom to go to the ownership group and say, "This is who I'm getting. This is who you're going to sign," so that I can also not just compete on this front, on multiple fronts here. That's what we talked about in the previous show, like getting a player like Richarlison who might be a super sub.
Yeah.
And you're noticing in this league, when you watch City and Liverpool the last two seasons and the five subs stuff, it's all about depth. I mean, because there's matches like, I mean, I've watched every single Liverpool match, it seems like, for the last 5 seasons. And the five sub thing, to me, is almost so unfair for these bigger clubs because it's like, this lower level club they're competing minute 70, it's 1-1. Here comes some of the big guns though, fresh legs, and it's just like, if you've got game changers like that, it happens so quickly. So, yeah, I don't really have any interest in Southampton. I don't know what I'm getting from them. Like, I like Ralph Hasenhüttl. I think that he's like, to me, he's a manager that's like as the quality of like a Sean Dyche, somebody that was able to keep Burnley in the league for a long time. Like, I trust Hasenhüttl to keep Southampton, to find a way for them to stay in this league. But it's not going to be easy. They haven't made a ton of signings. I guess they bought like 4 or 5 players in that 10 million euro range, but they're all pretty young and they're going to need to adapt quickly. So it's just about how do you get the value in this match for me, and so that's kind of what I'll be waiting on to see lineup, see if I can find something to say, okay, I think that Tottenham are going to come out here and this is going to be a Tottenham halftime full-time victory. Like, that looks pretty good. And when you look at their last 3 at home, they won last season halftime, full time. So you're going to find that around evens. That's probably how I would see it. Also, looking into the player prop market, maybe they have some, on FanDuel, for example, like Harry Kane to score a goal or assist a goal.
What?
I mean, he does so much. Yeah,
Wow,
you can get
that.
either. Yeah. Or maybe that's on Barstool. I cannot remember. But I know that
Either
to
way.
score or yeah, no, it's there. And let's find the prices here. Let's see what they are pricing this out.
While you're looking up that price, I'll mention, everybody can name your Frank Lampard, your Jesse Marshes, whatever the manager's name is there at Nottingham Forest for the first manager to be sacked. I think a sneaky pick I've been seeing is Ralph. Ralph to be the first manager to be snacked, and you can get that at some good money. Love that bet right there.
Possible. I think it would be a huge mistake by them if they did, though. Is basically, I like him. I think that he knows exactly how to get the best of this side. I think it would be a huge mistake if he was, but it's very possible. He's right up there.
Yeah.
But Kane to score or assist, he's actually second favorite behind Son. It's minus 200. But my gosh, like Kane, he gets the pens. He normally gets double digits in assist tallies in a season, so he's just everywhere. He does everything for this team.
Still remember that stat from last season. Son was the first player to have 20 or more goals without scoring one penalty. I love Son. Love what that guy does. Man, one of my favorite players in all the league. All right, let's move it over to the match we'll be watching when we're eating our lunch on Saturday. It's Everton versus Chelsea. I think you're going to see a return possibly of the under 2.5. When Thomas Tuchel first took over, I shared the stat a couple seasons ago where it was like 22 of 25 games they went off this amazing under 2.5 run. I think without a striker, and you see them looking in the market at a Aubameyang, because they know they don't have that central 9. They're going to run Kai up there. That's not a number 9. That's not a guy that I think you can count on in a tough Premier League for all 38 games to really get it done. There's a reason they're looking at a Aubameyang and some of these other guys. They're going to be scoring or maybe struggling to score. I think the back line, though, is going to be really good. You mentioned Cucurella's been coming over. Cad there from Napoli, slipping my head just off the top of my head. Obviously, Mendy's in goals, absolutely outstanding. yeah, still think they need another center back. They obviously lost some pieces, but I like them. I think under 2.5 could be the play, but I certainly see Chelsea getting the better of Everton here.
I think that under 2.5 is kind of the player because this is the easiest one for me, I think, on match day one, which is it's never easy to predict game scripts. But I think that this game script is very predictable. And that's why this is the one play that you'll see at the end of the show for me is just Chelsea are going to have 75% here on the road. And it just is what it is. Their midfield so much stronger. And it's like, can Lampard set up with this like low block thing to really try and stifle Chelsea? Yes, he can, but I like to bet on matches where I know that the team's coming at it in waves in a sense, and a team can stifle somebody for 30 to 40 minutes, but can they stifle them for the full 90? I find it difficult. I just, unless there's some kind of like fluky counterattack goal here by Everton, which is always possible, but I just see that this kind of being one-way traffic here for the Blues. I think that they're better at every single position. They have more continuity. It's all of the above, and I have a lot of question marks about Frank Lampard. Like, I don't think that he's that great of a manager here. Like, he'll be inspired in this one, going up against his legendary club that he played for and managed for, but was also sacked from. So I just don't see how Everton keep Chelsea out for the full 90 minutes. I do agree, though, that like under. So there's a couple different ways to go about this one. And this is where, when you watch this show, it's always kind of tricky. I like Chelsea. I don't want to lay minus 165. So I like -1. But I also think it's under. So you could instead take it going and go, I like Chelsea and under 4.5. I like Chelsea and under 3.5.
Yes.
I think that those are all fantastic ideas, really. I mean, you can get Chelsea and under 4.5 at basically -110. And that might be the way in. You can get them at under 3.5 at +115, +120. I was looking at it before we hopped on, and that's a more than fine route as well, getting a plus price in there. So it's however you decide you want to attack it, really. And but I just see this game script being very predictable, as in I don't even see Everton really sniffing the net here.
Yeah, you'll see it over the course of the week. So soccer, you kind of got to get creative a little bit in your bets, and taking a team in over 1.5 or under 4.5 in that money line is a very popular play. Yeah, I mean, they don't have Richarlison. Solomon Rondon, he's out with the red card. Calvert-Lewin, he's out with a knock. You're going to have Iwobi up there? Like, are you kidding me? That's not even going to worry Chelsea's defense at all, or Mendy. This is one-way traffic, as you said. Maybe that Chelsea money line at under 4.5 is kind of the way to go.
I'm surprised. I'm frankly surprised it's only -165. Like, this is one that you might want to get on this one, I think, early, because I think that this one only steams one way. I don't think that the line moves. I don't know who's betting Everton here. I really don't. I think that the public and sharps are hammering Chelsea here. And so whoever's going to hold an Everton ticket, that's just a tough one to swallow, I think.
Yeah. All right, now we get on to Sunday fixtures. We've got 3 of them. We've got Leicester and Brentford. I mentioned earlier on the show about maybe trying to project match week 1 using last season's numbers and summer transfer window. I'm going to take a stab here. Leicester was one of the highest over 2.5 teams in terms of scoring and conceding. I usually like to tack on both teams to score, but to me, over 2.5 at -127 is not a bad price. So I'm just going to go with it. We've seen sometimes where you think both teams will score, and then maybe somebody can win 3-0. Leicester is one of those teams at home at the King Power, match day 1. They could be the team that wins 3-0 and cover the over 2.5 in their own right. I'm going to go to this because if it's just like last season, it's just going to be profitable each and every single match week. So to me, it's over 2.5. I see goals. Both of them should contribute, but I don't want to tack on both teams to score.
Yeah, like just to kind of piggyback. So in a sense, I thought that Chelsea's match with Everton, I thought that was maybe the best bet of the week. And I think that this is probably the numero dos, or this even could be the best, because I think that you've pinpointed this match perfectly. You talked about it on the preview show that you were pinpointing this one already. And look at it. I mean, Brentford on the road conceded 1+ goals in 16 straight matches. And I know that they've got a couple defenders missing here. You look at the last 3 head-to-heads between the two. Both teams to score over 2.5 have come in. One of them was an FA Cup match, but it's been
all 3 last
3-1. 3, yeah. So one, I think the one was actually in January, so the season before. So Brentford wasn't even in the league yet, but it was still 3-1 to City, or yeah, to Leicester City, and then 2-1 and 2-1 both times in the head-to-heads last season. And I see it as the same exact thing here. I think that it's 2-1 to Leicester. And we know how many times we cashed on some gold bets really with Leicester towards the back end of last season. So for me here, it's got to be either the over 2.5 straight, or you complicate it a little bit to try to get it down to even money, and you just say both teams are scoring over 2.5. I like both of them. This one will be absolutely on my card.
Yep. All right, now let's cover the two teams in Manchester versus United taking on Brighton at home. Eric Ten Hag's first game there at Old Trafford. Depleted Brighton lineup, coming in based on, if you look at like comparing it to in terms of last season's lineup. Everybody knows I'm a United fan. If you're new to joining us this program, I am a United fan. I will end up going homer here in some capacity. I like their preseason football, thought it was good, liked the pressing. He talked about doing pressing when Ralph Ragnick came in. I didn't see much of that. I thought that was pretty terrible football. I think you're going to get it here up under Ten Hag. So I think you know what we're going to get. We saw it in the preseason. Brighton's lost some pieces, obviously, most notably there in the midfield. United should dominate this game here at Old Trafford. It'll follow 2-0-ish, You have to see what Martial. You mentioned how Salah kind of scores goal in the beginning. I think Martial is one of those players too. He'll show up in the first maybe 8 match weeks, and then he'll completely drop off the the face of the earth. But we're in match week 1. I expect him to score. So give me United.
So I do have one issue with that. Is I think that Martial's missing here. I think he just picked up an. Yeah, he just picked it up. So I think it was he will not play officially. So that begs the question. Is Ronaldo going to play here? Because I think he's going to. I think they're going to have to play him.
I had a conversation with my friend. If he starts, he's going to lose a dressing room. Because you know how when he left the game early, then he came out and said that was unacceptable. If he starts Ronaldo, he's lost the dressing room from the jump. He had Fernandez and Donny Van de Beek talked about how the strict tough love was needed in the preseason. Better not start Ronaldo.
Yeah, and you just wonder. I mean, Fernandez would obviously never be talking about like his Portuguese main man Ronaldo. Ronaldo's still so professional though, so he's going to be probably ready to go here, and I don't mind if he plays. Honestly, Ronaldo would go on the goal scoring parlay if he starts here. It's just happening. That's the one. I'm writing it down now. I'm seeing Ronaldo, Salah, Haaland. Those are ones that I really like right now. I would play Cristiano Ronaldo if I knew that he was going to play for 80 minutes. Here's the one. So Brighton. I was on Brighton, I'm pretty sure, the last time these two went head-to-head, and I probably took a plus a quarter or a plus half when they were at home, and they blitzed United. And I'm like, why didn't I take the money line type of thing? And here's this one. I mean, the two big holes, Jason. Two big holes are in a void right now. I mean, when you look at Cucurella, just look at the price tag that he went for.
Yep.
Look at Basuma. Look at the price tag that he went for, and I think that Brighton should have honestly played a little bit more hardball on the Basuma thing, because I think they could have milked an extra 10 million, because I think he's a really good player. But those are two massive misses for me. I think that Brighton can score and get at this United defense. Don't get me wrong, but this is match day 1 at Old Trafford. We're gonna find out what kind of lineup Ten Hag puts out there. So. This would only probably be a parlay piece or looking towards Ronaldo for me, because I don't want a ton to do this, but something to me smells like a lot of people are going to be finding a way to get on Brighton. They're going to see Harry Maguire in the lineup. They're going to be like, I want a piece of Brighton. And I think that United is probably going to win this match. I just do. I just have that feeling that really all the big boys get off to good starts this week. And I know that that's pretty square, but it's just something they've all replenished for the most part in the summertime, and Brighton's best 2 players they were head above heels better than anyone else on this squad, in my opinion. So those are huge misses from the last 4-0 beatdown that they gave United.
Yep, I agree. I think I predicted on the NBC Sports Predictor at 2-1 United, if I recall. I think I did 2-1 United. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think I can definitely see Brighton scoring here. Yeah, like finding a way to maybe get on like a bigger price to back United, like both teams to score and United to win. Like I like that.
All right, let's do the last match day here on match week number 1. It's West Ham versus Manchester City. Here we go. Here comes City. They're ready to fire up their quadruple hopes, just like Liverpool's ready to fire up their quadruple hopes. West Ham's going to be tough here at the London Stadium. I mean, don't kid yourself, but everybody and most teams in this league are a step below City. Over the course of 90 minutes, they'll be a step below. Does City win by how big of a margin? That's always the tough part. Like, at least on the NBC Sports Predictor, they love putting City in there. They love putting City in there because their games can be really any margin, right? They can create a ton of chances. That's what you know they're going to get, the possession and the chances, and how many of them convert, and that's what makes the difference in the score line. This one probably falls... I think West Ham will score just because they're at home and it's match day 1. If it wasn't match day 1, I probably wouldn't have them scoring, but it is match day 1. Crowd will lift them to a goal. 3-1, something around there. City win 3-1.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Like this one's really tough. I'm starting to get cooler and cooler as the week goes on this one. I'm seeing a report today. Bernardo Silva kind of wants to go to Barcelona. I don't know how Barcelona would afford that, but like. Pep is coming out and stating that like the player kind of wants to leave, and like that would really tilt the balance of this title race. And so I wonder about that. I thought that City were caught sleeping a little bit last week in the Community Shield. I still think that they could have easily won the match, and Haaland could have had a hat trick, but I did think that they were a little bit sleepy. And I mentioned on the preview show, like with no Laporte. Like I worry about that. Like I think that he's a big piece to this defense. So for me here, I've started to cool this one down a little bit. Like I think that West Ham can be. This is going to be Man City's toughest match for probably the next month. We're going to find out what West Ham can do with it. But really, the only thing that I want to like single out here that I think it's going to happen, and like you mentioned. The price is kind of coming down a little bit. You can find a -125 at DraftKings.
It's laughable.
I want some Erling Haaland action, and we're talking about Haaland around -125, Salah around evens, Ronaldo's going to be around evens most likely. Like that's a pretty nice little parlay there for match day 1 on an anytime goal scorer. Those are. I hope Ronaldo does start. Obviously, that one would be. I wouldn't lock it in until. You get some good information really on Ronaldo, but like that one, that's a nice little piece there. And that's the one that I want to single out here. I don't know if Man City wins. They probably do. And I look at how many times did I cash at the end of last season, Liverpool, City, 2-team parlay.
No, like a lot. I sat here with you.
a lot. And I mean, that was always the one that I could bank on in the sense. And so that one might get added to. I just need to keep like digging in a little bit more. It's still early. I just got pretty much done with my work week, so I've got a lot more like digging in to do now. But I think that one might have to make the card just out of how many times I hit that in a row last season.
Right.
But I do think that West Ham are going to be competitive here. I'm not sure that City like cover a -1.5 handicap. Like I don't think I'd be betting Man City -1.5 here. All
right, let's go ahead and give these guys our official bets, and then we'll go ahead and end these people. Match day 1 looked like it went a little bit later than we attend. These will generally be around about a half an hour is what they were last season. And again, we'll shift our attention to getting these back on Thursday for you, but these are the bets we're going to roll with now. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, as we'll be certainly at it. I'm on that over 2.5 there in Leicester Brentford. I did work in that Wolves double chance with the Tottenham money line at +127, and give me that Liverpool covering the -1.5 on the Asian line at -114.
Yep, and for right now, it's Chelsea. It's Chelsea -1 +115, and like I mentioned, if you want to maybe get a little bit more complicated with it, you could go Chelsea and under 3.5 +120, or Chelsea and under 4.5. Around like even money. So like those like that's where you get to decide on what you do. So Yeah, I like that one.
Love that right there. All right, guys, like I mentioned, we'll move this to Thursday at around this same time every week, and we'll be glad to talk all 38 match weeks with you. Guys, appreciate the comments. Appreciate you guys sitting there enjoying it. Hit that like button on your way out. Let us know what bets you've got. And good luck in match week 1, and we'll see you back here for match week number 2.